Welcome. We're live. Style to play football. Myself, Theo, and Reese. What you saying? How you doing, man?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Obviously, it's a new year now. Just back to the grind, man. The grind don't stop anyway, but back to the grind properly. Like,
Yeah, no, of course. What did I just say to you though? Remember, I just said the words that I just said. As soon as I hit live on the stream, I did say, let me get Basil in. One sec. I did say it was gonna happen. Man. One sec. Where is he? Here he is. Boom. Should be there now. Right there. What you saying, Basil? You good?
Good for you, man. How you doing, Reese?
I'm good, man.
Basil, how you doing? Yes.
I'm good, man.
We just started the stream anyway, so first of all, happy new year to all of you actually, and that's listening, you guys as well, man. Like, happy new year. Hope you all had a good Christmas.
Yeah, definitely.
Refreshed, ready to go again.
Yeah, just a quick one. I'm not sure if it's me. Does it look blurry for you guys? Obviously, on the main bottom screen is fine, but on the main
No.
screen,
No, it does look blurry.
My eyesight's not that good.
yeah,
My
the main screen with us three look blurry.
Mm.
I don't know. It looks alright. My side. Just run it for now anyway, because we're live. Like I said, there we're live. So, but it looks calm. Looks calm on my end. I can. Yeah, it might just be a connectivity issue, but it looks live.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, man, we're live. So if you're here, part of the live stream, make sure you subscribe, get involved, all of that stuff. We're gonna obviously talk Arsenal. Are they back in the title race? Are they not in the title race? I want to hear your thoughts about that. We gotta talk Liverpool. Listen, we gotta do all that, man. We gotta talk about that.
We forgot about one team.
You said that wild comment. You said that.
Listen, we're gonna be talking Liverpool contracts, Trent, Virgil, Mo, and then obviously Chelsea fell off a cliff over Christmas. I don't know what happened to Chelsea, man, but 1 point out of 9 is just, yeah, we got to talk about that as well. But let's start with Arsenal. Because Arsenal made things difficult against Brentford, I think, anyway, yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday. See, all my days are rolling into one this Christmas period. I thought it was Monday the other day. Yeah, Arsenal. Talk to me, Basil, because obviously it kind of... Liverpool are steamrolling the league, but at the same time as well, Arsenal there or thereabouts. It feels like they're kind of there now again.
They're only just there, let's be brutally honest. I mean, I'm one of those fans that doesn't get carried away. I think it's night and day between how Arsenal are playing and Liverpool are playing. I mean, when Liverpool play, they always look threatening against the teams that they play. Arsenal don't. If I'm being brutally honest, I think we've regressed compared to where we were for the last 2 seasons. The style of play just isn't great, and we struggle to really unlock teams and create real clear chances. And we don't really have any clear finishers. We don't have centre forward who can score more than 1 goal in a game, which is quite obvious. So we're there only by a technicality of points wise, but I don't think we can sustain it, because ultimately we're hoping for them to kind of drop points in 3 games and Arsenal to go on a run of winning games, which I personally don't see. It was a slow start against Brentford. Obviously, then we kind of picked things up. Then we kind of had a fast start in the first maybe 10, 15 minutes in the second half, and then it went back to typical Arsenal. It was slow, it was tepid, the football wasn't great. In fairness, I did fall asleep at one point in the game too. But that's again, and I think ultimately what they showed, and also previous game showed, if teams actually get the low block correct, as certain teams like Everton and other teams and Fulham, then I think Arsenal will struggle to break down teams, which is where I think will be Arsenal's undoing. Whereas Liverpool seem to have many answers to different styles of plays or how teams try to kind of prevent Liverpool from playing. And I think that's the difference between the two, which is why I think at some point, I think Liverpool will run away with it at some point. I think what we saw with Liverpool last season, where they kind of dropped off near the end of the season, I think we'll see that with Arsenal, and then the points gap will just get bigger and bigger. And that's just my personal opinion.
What do you think, Reese? Because obviously Liverpool...
I'm surprised to hear that.
Why are you surprised though?
No, man, because I still think Arsenal is very much in the title race. Obviously, Liverpool's in a great
100%.
position. But like I said, we got these contracts that we're dealing with, and based on what's going on with Trent, if this spills over,
You
I
think it will
think it's
impact on the pitch though? Do you reckon if because obviously
impact if he decides to sign a pre-contract or something like that, and then you got to bear in mind when he plays the next game against United. Now at the minute, whether fans are gonna boo or not, because obviously I've been in a few group chats. I've seen stuff on Twitter. I've tried to stay off it because too much people they're trying to go in a bit too much, a bit kind of trying to attack him personally and things. If he does this, he does that. Whereas it's not really it's not really his fault. We kind of got more look at our owners why you've allowed these players to be in this position in the first place. Obviously, I was hoping that this would have been sorted out by the new year, but it still hasn't been. I watched the Arsenal game yesterday. Minus Brentford scoring, they controlled the game, and they could have been more than 3-1. I was very impressed with Wanyeri.
yeah, he looks
I
good,
think,
man. Very good
I think
player.
for me, what he was doing yesterday is what Martinelli needs to be doing on a regular basis. He's kind of showing him that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to dribble past players. You're meant to have feints. You're meant to kind of be unpredictable. And when he had the ball, that's what it kind of looked like. I know obviously it's only been one game since Saka, but I think they didn't look like they missed him. Obviously, we've got to see if they sign in January. It looks like they might do. I don't think my club's going to. And really, we should strengthen. Yeah, like I said, I still think Arsenal in it. Chelsea, I always said we're dark horses, but I don't deep down think they'll win it because the defense and goalie they need to kind of address, and where they've lost points in the last few games, that's where kind of the errors have come from. And then obviously it hasn't helped that your manager come out and said that you're not in a title race, even though I get he's trying to take the pressure. At the same time, it's kind of backfired. It's
I feel like I'm getting baited out here a little bit.
Players started coming out and saying that they're not in a title race, so it's kind of that energy.
I think that's the right thing to do, though. I think that's the right thing to do. I think he would have added a lot more pressure to his own job had he come out and said, yes, I don't think there's a manager in their right mind in December that could come out and say, yeah, we're in a title race, we're competing for it, knowing the loss.
There's a way you downplay it for you.
Nah, we're not, man. We're listen, the objective for the club is to get top 4, and I think if we get anything above that, that's a bonus. So I think he's right downplaying it. If we win it, or we look like we're going to win it, then of course, yeah, you're happy, but we're not. Our ambition this season is not to win that league, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the ambition based on the last 2 seasons that we've had there. We've been poor, like mid-table finishes, finishing out the Champions League, spending all that money and still underperforming. To then come out and just go, oh yeah, we're in a title race, would have been crazy. In his first season as well, he hasn't even finished his first season. So I get where he's coming from. I get that, yes, we at the time when he was asked these questions, we were second in the league, but you can see how quickly things can change. Like we were about 4 points behind Liverpool, and now we're 10 points behind them, and they've got a game in hand. So
I would say objectives changed though. That's the thing I would say, because Liverpool's objective at the start of the season wasn't to win the league. Objectives change.
Yeah, but you've been flying high. You've been flying high.
If you looked at the start of the season when Klopp left, people were saying that we're lucky to be even getting top 4. So that we're not going to do anything. So I think things change. And for me, him saying that you're challenging is different to him saying you're going to go out and win it. For me, you're a big club. You're Chelsea.
Not in December. Not in December. I'd be worried if Nah. Well, imagine he did say that, and then you go on to get 1 point out of 9. Like, do you know how much pressure?
If the manager believes in the team, whereas I get he tried to take the pressure off, but it looked like it kind of backfired more because then, like I said, players started coming out. A couple other guys said, "No, we're not winning it." Whereas it looks like the manager's he may be trying to take the pressure off, but it looks like he's kind of showing that maybe he don't believe that they're going to. And then even some of the things he's doing, he's kind of second guessing himself, like the pressure's kind of getting to him a bit, being at the top. So,
we're gonna get back onto Chelsea. Let's get back onto Chelsea in a bit. Let's stay with Arsenal, because I do feel that Arsenal they're 4 points now from the top. I know Liverpool have got that game in hand, but
six.
Is it 6? Is it 6? 6. Sorry, my bad. I'm trying to do you a favour here, Basil. Give you some points, but I do think Arsenal are pushing now. I think I feel like it's a shame. We spoke about it on here before, but if they had a proven clinical goal scorer, not a Gabriel Jesus who's in a bit of form now and he's grabbing a one goal here, grabbing a one goal there, but if you had like a proven 20 goal man a season player, I think it would be like a neck and neck race between you and Liverpool. I just feel like that little thing of not having, like for us, defender, not having a good goalkeeper. I think for Arsenal, we've said it on here before, not having a decent striker, like a proven goal scorer, is going to be the downfall, I think, for Arsenal. Do you think that realistically there's a chance of bringing in someone, Basil, in the winter window that could be that person that could just see you over the line? I'm not talking about Gyökeres, or I'm not talking about one of those, just maybe someone that is proven a little bit. I don't know who's out there, but
people forget it's Arsenal. Like anyone actually expecting Arsenal to do any business in the winter is absolutely crazy. We've been in this position so many times. First, I remember 2010 when we were challenging for the league with United, and we were saying we needed a defender. We didn't go and do any signings in the January window. We've been in so many positions where we're close, and the whole talk has been, oh, Arsenal maybe sign one or two players. We never do it in January. And the fact that Arsenal didn't even do their business properly in the summer, what makes people want to do any suitable business?
Edu's gone now.
But then we have no one. But who's there?
Oh, well, have you not replaced him?
I don't think we've replaced him. We fully replaced him with a permanent. We haven't replaced him with a permanent. I don't know who's. I've forgotten who's taking the position now. But we don't have a permanent replacement for him.
Yeah, that's bad.
We kind of moved to the position cover, but we don't have a permanent replacement. We're not doing any business in January. We never do. And Arsenal are never prepared to do. They don't plan effectively to actually do any proper business in January. And ultimately, I think we're more than just even a strike or even challenging. The issue now with the Saka injury is that now Saka's there. We don't have squad depth. So when you're looking at, for instance, Reece mentioned we controlled the game yesterday, we look good. What happens when we need a goal? Because when Wanyeri off, the only person we can bring on was Trossard. If you look at our bench yesterday, it was a horrible bench. If we were chasing the game, we actually had no game changers to come on and change that game. Havertz wasn't available. Saka's injured.
Was Sterling on the bench? Was he on it? But he's not.
He's injured.
Sterling's injured?
Yeah, Sterling's injured. He got injured around the same time as Saka did.
How can a man get injured and not kick off football?
Exactly. Announced at the same time. So Sterling's injured. So the only person who actually had to come off that bench yesterday to change the game was Trossard. So that's what I mean. The issue is that we don't even have the squad depth to actually push Liverpool, because what we're now relying on is our starting 11 to do the job. And we've seen many times when the starting 11 can't do the job, we don't really have game changers. Whereas you look at Liverpool, look who they can bring on. They can bring on Jota. They can bring on Nunez. They can bring on Harvey Elliott. They have a number of options they can bring on to kind of change the game. Arsenal don't have that at the moment, which is why I think we're there right now. But I'm telling you now, the tail off is going to happen at some point in the season. I know this club, even like I said, we're chasing now. But look at what happened in the last two seasons when we were ahead. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, we're there. Like I said, we're there mathematically, but I personally can't see us going on a winning run the same way we did last season, because we actually don't have the squad depth to actually push Liverpool all the way to the end, personally.
I'm going to stick by I said at the start of the season. I think Arsenal will. I'm just looking at your fixtures now. So who you got next? You got Brighton. Then the big game, I think, a week Sunday is obviously the United game. That's always a big game anyway.
Is that a league game or a cup game?
Is that a cup?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Where are we playing at home back? Because we do have them in the FA Cup. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Sorry. So wait, you're.
It could be a league game.
So you got Brighton, then you got the North London derby.
Ooh.
Yeah, it will be, because you got the semi-final, the Carabao Cup, and then you got United in the FA Cup, and then you've got the North London derby. Then you play Villa.
There you go. There you go. Listen. I'll change my tune if we win against Brighton, Tottenham, and Villa. I'll definitely change my tune, because that will be quite impressive and actually make me more optimistic. If we don't get 9 points out of those games, then forget about it. Absolutely forget.
Yeah, no, let's see. I mean, the North London derby is always going to be a tough game as well. I think you got some tough, even although it's in the cup, against United, you still want to get through, progress through that as well. The semi-final of the Carabao Cup's not going to be easy. Some tough fixtures, but I still think Arsenal. I know you said about squad depth. You're right as well. Like, you do need squad depth to try and win anything, but I don't know, with Arsenal, they're just always floating around there every season. They're just there. It's just that one little thing, I think, for me, or a couple of signings, not one, but a couple of signings to see you over the line. You never know. Teams with weaker teams have won that Premier League. And yes, Liverpool are flying high. It only takes 1 or 2 results for them to go a bit off the boil, and you never know, the door might open for Arsenal. I'll be honest, I'd rather see Arsenal win it than Liverpool. That's just, I'm sorry, Reece, but the reason
we can already see that.
The reason I say that is because obviously I'm in Liverpool in it, so I can't be having Liverpool win no leagues, and do you know what I mean? But let's talk about the contracts at Liverpool, because there's still, I feel like every time we do one of these live debate shows, we always have to bring up Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And it seems now that 2 out of the 3, and I'm talking Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, from what David Ornstein's saying, is that they're kind of on the brink of signing new deals, 2-year deals with a further option for another year. They're almost there. But Trent seems to be the one that's, Viva España. He wants to go Hala Madrid and all of that stuff over there, which I don't blame him. I'll be honest. I mean, we spoke about it in the group chat, but I feel like some of the fans I think they're just really quick to jump on this. We don't like him. He's this, he's that. And I think, there's still an opportunity for him to sign a deal at this club. Do you know what I mean? Let's not jump the gun. Even if he does sign for Madrid, just let him go with the praise and whatever else. But Reece, what's your thoughts on the 3 contracts, like the situations where they are?
It's kind of similar to how it was before. I think 2 out of the 3, I don't think Trent will stay, because I think they've left it too late. And from Real Madrid bidding, for me, Real Madrid don't bid without him telling them to bid. For me, they don't make mistakes like that where they're going to try and bid and then he decides that he's not, that he wants to stay. Like I said, I could be wrong. He's obviously he's given the club every chance, but I don't think they're going to offer him the money that he wants.
Because what's he asking for? Is it like 350 or something like that? 325?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. Maybe 350 or something.
I think they're offering him either 250 or 275 is what they're trying to offer him, and he's holding out for another like 70, 100.
That's not enough, man. If you dealt with the contracts properly and you offered him that around 2 years ago, that's all right.
Yeah.
But you've kind of put him in a position, like I said, and he's got Real Madrid who are interested, and then obviously you've got Bellingham there as well. He's one of his close friends or whatnot, kind of doing the rounds, constantly talking to him on a regular basis. And people got to bear in mind, like I said, Trent's my favorite player. Would I be happy about this? 100% not. But I'm not gonna turn on him or be like he's this or he's that. You got if you take emotion out of it and you just talk on a football basis. He's kind of achieved everything at Liverpool. Could he achieve more? Yes, but he has kind of won everything. He's got an opportunity to play for Real Madrid with other players. So I don't blame him. Like I said, it's more the club. It's just, for me, if the only thing I'll be annoyed about is if he signs a pre-contract right now, because in terms of what we got going on this season, focus on the season. We need to try and win. We're in a great position. We win the league, Champions League, potentially other trophies as well. Yeah, I mean, try and get us through that, and then whatever you do in the end of the season. But if you do some sort of where you sign a pre-contract, for me, they kind of got to take him out of the team, because that kind of messes up morale and things like that, So
You reckon?
Yeah, for me, why? If you imagine you're a player, for me, like, you can decide that you want to leave, cool, but you're going to be disrespectful like that in terms of when in the middle of a season to try and make all that. And we've got things going on. No player's bigger than the club. Like I said, I can understand you wanting to leave, but that's not how you go about it. So we've got to wait and see, because obviously Real Madrid are going to push out their PR and try and apply pressure and whatnot. But I just think that messes up things. That kind of messed up things last season. Even though people don't believe it, when Klopp decided to say he wanted to leave, I think that messed up things. You don't announce something like that halfway through a season. For me,
I think back to when Hazard left Chelsea. And I remember even up to the Europa League final, I think we played Arsenal. And sorry, Basil, I had to get that in there. But even we knew months before that Hazard was going. We knew, like, going to Real Madrid, it was the same situation. It was slightly different because I think we told him stay for another season and we'll let you go at the end of the contract. So he was kind of a similar situation, but with variations in it in terms of what Trent's going through now. But I don't think me personally, I don't think there'd be an issue if he signs a pre-contract. I'd still play him. Yes, the fans might. The fans will turn on him, but they're turning on him anyway, regardless whether he's signing that deal or not.
Imagine he's playing and you're being booed by your own fans.
But he's going to get that anyway. I think he'll get that. He'll get that anyway. So what difference is it going to make?
Get quite toxic. I think there's a difference of being booed by rival fans or people who just have compared to your own fans where you're actually from. Like, look at what's his name. I think that happened to Xerxes at United. I don't see him playing. No, huh?
Why is that a Trent problem? That's the thing. That's a fan.
That's what I mean.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's right. But what I'm saying is, as a player, you're going to be able to deal with that, and you're from there.
I think he will. If he knows he's going, he's not bothered by that at all. He'll just play his football, and if the manager's picking him, he can't turn around and say to the manager, "I don't want to play because a portion of the fans are going to boo me." They're going to boo him anyway. They'll boo him regardless. Whether he signs that deal, he's still going to have the fans in that club that will still look at him differently as to what they did 12 months ago. So
I think it's different because Trent, I'm assuming he's a Liverpool supporter because he's grown up and come through there. So I can't. If this was a player who had no affiliation with the club, I could understand the argument because then it's like, well, I don't really care if this is how you're going to treat me. I can kind of down tools a bit. I think it's a different situation because Trent has an association with the club and everything he's achieved there. I think he would want to perform and do well regardless of them booing. If booing starts to impact the player and the team, and let's say Liverpool kind of fall at the last hurdle in terms of the competitions and everything, I think that's more on the fans, and the fans should have a look at themselves because ultimately, as a fan myself, if let's say there was an Arsenal playing back situation, at some point I wouldn't even care he's leaving. My whole thing is, listen,
win us a league.
Win us a league. Fine.
No, that's mine. That's how I kind of see it, but I'm not saying that if you have a negative atmosphere or talk right now, it's very positive. It's been positive the whole season. We're in quite a big space. Things sometimes added pressure or a little bit of toxic energy.
Do you think that? Reece, I've got a question. Do you think, Reece, because obviously, let's say now he agrees the contract, right? And it officially comes out within the next, let's say, 2 weeks. Do you think? Okay, let's say it's toxic for the 2 games after, but do you think he can win them over with just his performances? Do you think, okay, maybe for the first matches or 2 matches, the fans boo and everything, but then obviously, let's say you win those 2 games, he performs well. Do you think that can then quickly change, or do you think it's something that can continue throughout the majority of the season? Because I think players can win over the fans if they
100%
performance regardless of that situation.
I don't even think it's necessary everyone because there's a selection of fans who are like that who kind of feel entitled in it. I'm not like that. So for me, I still look at if you are gonna go, you're gonna go, cool. But while you're playing for us, let's try and end it on a high. Try and win as much things as we can. You know what I mean? But depends. It's weird because I think say if he was to sign a new deal in the next month or 2. Half of those toxic fans will go back to being, oh yeah, Trent. I just think a lot of them are upset because they can't comprehend. Whereas for me, end of the day, these things happen in football, and it's not ideal, but these things happen. And if anything, it should be more of a thing. If it's me, all that energy that should be more put towards the owners. That's what I said.
100%.
Never be in the position in the first place. You can't begrudge the guy. Like I said. Football career is not long. I know they get paid loads of money, but it's not. You don't have a long career. So if you deep it, he's in a position like before. But what was you gonna say, sorry?
No, I agree with you, and especially from a footballer perspective, right? When you look because especially when you look around with your peers, if you're looking around and there's players who are not on your level, or players on your level earning a lot more, and the club you're at wants to offer you less than that, you're going to say, hold on, like,
What's going on?
Yeah, I would say I'm at the top of the game in my position, and there's players earning more than me, or there's players at the same level, and I can't even reach the same salary wage as they can. As I said, the club have to look at themselves, and sometimes you have to divert from that wage structure for those one or two players. Arsenal have done it in the past wrongly for the likes of Ozil and Aubameyang, but at some point you have to realize the level some of these players are operating at and say we have to
100%.
reward accordingly. And as I said, I agree with you in terms of the anger needs to be directed towards the owners. If they don't understand the scale of the club that they're managing and the
Mm,
scale of the players that they're operating, then sorry, they need to look for a different possession, because a different profession, and hand the club over to someone else who can manage that effectively. Especially when you're a club with the history and the stature of Liverpool, you have to operate differently from every other club and act like a club.
They've done that. They've done that for the other two. You think about Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, the two highest paid players at Liverpool. They've gone above and beyond for them two. And I think for Trent, who I think is on 180 a week at the moment, he's obviously looking. He's easily one of the best players in the world. So if he's looking at Virgil van Dijk and he's seeing he's on whatever he's on and Salah's on 3 something a week, he must be thinking, hold on a minute, like, which crop am I in here? Am I in just the rest of the sort of bunch of the players at Liverpool, or am I one of the ones that is irreplaceable? Because you look at Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk as irreplaceable at the club. Trent's in that same bracket, really, for
I
Liverpool.
wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say Trent's irreplaceable.
Is there anyone else can pick a pass that he done the other day? I don't know if you got to see the pass that he...
In terms of what he's offering, like in terms of from that position, it's kind of an anomaly. But you got to remember, we've got talented players who can pick passes like that in midfield. It's just because
Like Trent,
he does that from
Trent for me is a... Listen,
wasn't I can do that. So in terms of me, out of all of them, out of all 3 players, he's the one. Like I said, I would like to keep all of them, but he's replaceable, because you got to remember in terms of when Klopp was playing, the way we used to play, it was through the fullbacks. It's not like that now. It's not like that now. We're kind of looking at a more traditional fullback.
that's...
Like, for me,
I don't know, man. I think. What do you think, Basil? What did you think Trent is?
But remember, defensively, Trent's all right. But remember, it's not like in terms of even as a right back, I wouldn't say he's the best right back in the world. That's not for me, in my opinion.
You don't think he is?
I agree
No,
with Reece.
if you're looking at it from you be honest. You be honest if you're looking at it defensively and offensively. Defensively, he's okay. It's what he offers on the ball, and it depends what Trent turns up. Because sometimes he turns it on, sometimes he doesn't turn it on. Sometimes people get a bit too caught up. Sometimes with the passes, but there's times when he does the Hollywood passes and it doesn't work. So,
Yeah, but that's go on, Basil. Let me hear what you think.
No, I agree with Reece in terms of because of his position and the balance that he doesn't offer. I would say he is the least replaceable out of the 3. And I've always said I don't think Liverpool would mind losing him if they received a decent fee, because obviously, like we've seen when he's injured, Bradley's come in and done a good job. And obviously, like I said, they can adapt to their system. And I agree with you in terms of the system now isn't heavily relying on the fullbacks. So they can't actually afford to lose a Trent and replace him. You do lose like some of the quality he does have on the ball. But at the same time, you can navigate that if you do have more of a balanced fullback. Maybe he may not offer you as much on the ball as Trent does, but at least if he does a good job fullback in terms of supporting the attack and is very good defensively, they won't miss him too much personally, because as recently they have other quality players in the field who can do that job that Trent actually, that Trent does. Maybe not on a consistent basis sometimes, but they do have the ability to actually pick up some of the passes that Trent does. They need to do it more often, and maybe that's where we need them scope for improvement over the next few years, because the likes of Szoboszlai is still young. Even I think McAllister's still like
Yeah, they're all young.
Harvey Elliott is another
Curtis
one.
Jones as well.
There you go. So you're saying, well, if these guys can grow and develop, they can afford to lose a Trent. I guess the biggest issue I have is that they're losing him on a free. And
Let's talk about that as well. Let's talk about that.
That's my issue as well.
Let's talk about FSG, because a lot of people, especially online, they're talking about Trent, they're talking about Salah and Van Dijk and whatever else. But I don't really hear much talk about the ownership and how it's got to this point where you've got 3 of your best players in the team all run down their contracts to the very end. Now they're available to talk to whoever. You got Salah coming out saying we're far away from negotiating a deal. Virgil, I think, is the one that will get done first. I think that's almost probably done it already. But how has it got to a point where this ownership has missed out on potential transfer targets in the last 2 transfer windows? The 3 best players are now available to talk to other clubs and sign pre-contracts and all the rest of it. And I don't know, it just feels like a portion of the fan base is okay with that, but then there are some, like we know Damon is very vocal about the fact that, you know, the ownership is just the reason why a lot of these things are happening. And do you think as well, both of you, I'll ask you both, but do you think if Liverpool win the league that theoretically that could cover over some of this and mask over it for the summer? People forget about the fact that they've lost out on these transfer targets. If Trent does go, then winning the league, it's all right, don't worry about it, we've won the league anyway. And like you both just said, he in your perspective, he's replaceable. You can replace him. So how has it got to this point? I'll start with you, Reece. How has it got to the point where the ownership aren't really the sole issue in some people's eyes from Liverpool's perspective?
Because you got people who are FSG lovers, man. You got people who they're more looking at like
The
maybe,
results.
yeah, or that we're doing all right. Whereas it's for me, yes, we're doing good. And say we win the league, that's great, and I'll celebrate. But I'm still going to look at the bigger picture. I'm going to look at if you were to keep going and you kept him through, how you could push on with this manager, because obviously no one really knew too much about him. He looks like he's a really talented manager. You've got young players coming through. For me, that the way they operate, like I said, they run things as a business. But it's like from the business side, they run things quite well. But I've always said this from the football side, they don't really know what they're doing. I don't really think Liverpool's their priority. I think they're just holding on to Liverpool to see how much they can get for Liverpool, because they never really invest as much as they should. They always do just enough, but they never do, like, say, even now, we're at the top, we should go out and sign 1 or 2 players just to cement and push us over the line. Like I said, I'm not big fans of FSG. I appreciate some of the things they've done, but there's certain things there, like I said, with contracts. With the 3 right now, with Trent, Virgil, and Salah, they did this with Ronaldo. They did this with where they ran his contract down and they should have given him a new one. They did this with, I think Bobby was able to go on a free. Even
Did Mane leave on a free as well?
Mane, no, he went for a fee, but
Did he
not
go
as
for a
much
fee?
as he was supposed to go for. Not as much as he was supposed to go for, considering the player he was. I think Chamberlain and Naby Keita as well. I don't know what it is, but they like to run contracts down, or they seem to think, yeah, we're just going to keep it in this wage structure. Whereas for me, your best players, you got to pay them what they want. For me,
I agree with that. But Baz, what do you think?
It's a difficult one, right? Because obviously I'm not fully associated with Liverpool. From the outside looking in, personally, it doesn't look like they've done a bad job. Yes, there've been missteps, but overall, from an outside perspective, it looks like they've done well. And I compare it to my club at Arsenal, right, where we've had owners for a very long time who refuse to invest in the club, and even our investments have been quite, some of them, a lot of shameful investments in players and recruitments for a very long time. Whereas I've looked at Liverpool, they've made right investments, maybe sometimes not enough, but I can't fault some of the investments they've made. When I look from Alisson to Van Dijk to even the likes of McAllister, Luis Diaz. I know Gakpo took a while to get going, but he's got going. Maybe Nunez was one that was okay, hasn't worked out, but at least they showed the intent there. Obviously, the only misstep you can say is maybe in the summer they didn't really make any signings to push Liverpool on. I know they brought in Chiesa, which just hasn't worked out. But then you can
Forgot about him.
but then you can even argue, even the appointment of Arne Slot looks like to be a very shrewd appointment. Whereas when he was first announced, there was a lot of criticism potentially over him coming into the club. But it looks like they've done their due diligence as to the type of man that they're bringing in, and it seems to be working so far. So from an outside perspective, FSG, from my perspective, haven't really done. I think they've done a very good job so far, just from an outside perspective. I know Liverpool fans kind of have a different perspective, which I understand because they're more closely attached to how they've operated and how they behave. I would say, yeah, one of the biggest things that I said is the contract situation of their three best players. That for me is definitely a big mark against them because it's bad enough having one of your best players.
Free.
Let's live on a free, but free for me is criminal. And as bad as Arsenal have been, we've never had that situation. There was a time where it was Ozil and Sanchez, and we managed to get Ozil done, and Sanchez left, but never free. And I think that's probably the biggest mark against FSG, which I agree with you, Reese, is maybe the contract, the handling of contract situation with certain players is where they've kind of let themselves down. But I think everything else they seem to have done reasonably well from the outside looking in. Maybe you can shed more light on information that probably I don't pay attention to or have.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I kind of see your point when you just said that, Basil. I kind of agree with you a little bit because they have been competing for the league. They've won the league in that period of time as well. They're looking likely to win the league again this season. I think that the free. I just can't. But then I do talk to a lot of Liverpool fans, and they're really disgruntled by the ownership, not just because of the contracts, but I think even things like ticket prices. You know that. But then I always say to them.
Things, man, they've done a lot. The ticket prices they've done.
But everyone's ticket prices have gone up though. This is why when I speak to Liverpool fans, I say to them, we're all in the same boat with that one. So I don't think it's just a Liverpool thing. Like it's not just Liverpool that are doing that. You know, United have increased them. Tottenham, I think maybe Tottenham haven't actually, or did they this season? I can't remember.
Fulham have.
Who? Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham have. Tottenham have. Because I know I was listening to on the radio.
Yeah, they've increased them heavily as well.
Yeah.
No, put your price up. You got to put your price up, but be reasonable. Like, come on, man. Where you're gonna pay up silly prices? How you think people, most working class people, are supposed to afford that?
I don't think that's what they see. What like I know I'm speaking from Chelsea perspective, but I know that they don't really want the locals in there. I'll be honest. They want tourist people to be in the mega store buying up the shirts and the whatevers.
They're not real fast, them people there.
Yeah, but they're the ones that are paying. They're paying the big bucks to sit on the seats.
I hear it, but they're casuals. They'll go to games. They're not really paying attention to the game. They're watching it, but they're more looking at it as a spectacle. They don't even really know what's going on. Not really. They're more looking at it as. I went to a game that they couldn't tell you what's what, who's a player, who's not. I get it, but that's even another debate in general in terms of football. That further down the line, I don't want it to become like that because if casuals.
Yeah, I agree with you there because it makes me think of, and I think it's more the American model because when you look at the American sports, they make a lot of money on merchandising. That's
Probably more.
Yeah, they make so much money off merchandising. So they're probably seeing that model where in America in their sports, where there's NBA, NFL, where we bring in these fans, they buy all these merchandise and make a lot of money. But they probably think, as Theo said, the same thing. You probably don't want the locals who are not going to spend as much on all of that stuff.
Come on.
You want everyone else who's got the money, who can travel from afar and buy all of this stuff to generate more revenue that way. And like I said, it is the American type of thinking because that's the model they've come from within sports in their country. And they probably look, as you said, and it goes back to what you're saying, Reese, they're looking at it as a business. So it's like, how can we generate as much money as we can while having ownership of this club? And they're looking at all these avenues. So yeah, ticket prices for them is like, well, we don't care. If it isolates the people who have been supporting this club for decades or like the locals, then so in their mind is like, so be it.
Yeah, because there's still bumps and seats, and that to them that's money through the gates. That's people in the mega stores. That's people buying £9 pints in the stadium and all the rest of it. And like they're not concerned. They're not concerned, and they know that if
that's money being paid, but then where's it going?
Well,
because they're not using how they're supposed to be using it. So
this is where people get disgruntled, and this is where I think that
issue for me.
Yeah, no, I hear it. That's why I think a lot of the Liverpool fans are, I wouldn't say concerned, but they're like, well, you just built a new stadium or a new stand, or 2 new stands in the space of like 5 years. But the investment
that should be paid for that, really.
Well, you'd think
the amount of money we generate, and based on the last few seasons where we've been challenging for most things, you get money for
of course,
finishes, winning trophies, having a big fan base. We've made enough money, but then our owners act like, oh, you've got to work within restraints. It's like, we're worth like $1 billion. That's stupid.
But
It's
I
not
do,
making no sense.
I do feel that some like those business models can work though sometimes as well. So it's not even just to like to downplay it and say that it's never going to work. Sometimes you got to just live within those like allocations. If that's what they want to do, I kind of agree with it a little bit, because if you're not willing to go over a threshold, like for Trent, for instance, if they're not willing, Jude Bellingham, another example, they offered certain amount of money. Real Madrid said, we want this much. Liverpool said, all right, cool, no problem. Let's leave it. So I kind of get that, because, you know, the way that we've done it at Chelsea, it hasn't always worked. We've gone above and beyond for certain players, and they're not even worth that.
In some ways, but look how much you've won as well. It's part
No,
of
I mean recent times. I mean like the last, where we haven't won anything, and we're finishing like we're finishing like 12th, and we're sacking manager after manager.
That's only with this owner. When you had the other owner, Abramovich,
No, that was
success,
different. Yeah,
success
no.
rate was good in the failure rate for me.
It goes back to what you're saying, Reece, earlier, because you need football people. As much as Abramovich said, he loved football. Like, he was very at the games. You can tell he was invested in terms of Chelsea winning things, having certain players, playing a certain brand of football. And so obviously every decision that he was making, whether people agreed with it or not, it was all for the betterment of, I want to see Chelsea winning and dominating, which is the difference between some of the modern owners we have now.
Yeah,
Where
it's
like,
different now.
as long as the money's rolling in, we couldn't care less. So every decision they're making isn't a football decision. Which is why, like I said, as much as this has a bun, Chelsea heavily missing. And I actually did like Abramovich for that reason, in terms of when he saw there was weaknesses, didn't care. Player, manager, staff,
He addressed it.
to be
Yeah.
replaced. And it's all for football reasons.
I just think with our owners, yeah, it's like I said, how they run the club, I can't complain about that. We've got new training facilities. We've kind of improved the stadium and certain things and stuff like that. But it's the last bit where it comes to when it comes to signings and stuff. When they first came, they said we sell to buy. Cool, fair enough. You've come in and you took Liverpool over, where we almost went into administration. You got to build it up. But now it's been 10, 15 years. No one's saying, and for me, you don't have to spend 200 or 300 million every season. The thing is, address the areas that you're weak in. And for me, you got to spend money to make money. So if you deep it, saying that we don't want to pay this one, this and that, it's like, look at the climate you're living in of football.
It's
Yeah, I
true.
mean, even little clubs spending money. At some point, you have to kind of keep hold of your best assets. You got to pay them what they want. If they're asking something crazy, which is 500,000-600,000, then of course not. But in terms of every team, big team's got maybe 4 or 5 elite players that are separate from the rest. You pay them what you need to pay. And for me, in terms of winning with our owners, that's why it'll only ever be here and there Premier League. I don't see us dominating. They don't. You can't be haggling and let some of your best players go and then think, yeah, we're going to be all right. Because with our owners, it just seems like they're happy with top 4. If you happen to win, that's a bonus, and then it kind of puts over the cracks, because it's like, okay, we won, but that wasn't nothing really to do with you. That wasn't really your intention. If you go and dominate, you address the contracts, but then you go and sign and strengthen the areas you need to strengthen. You don't be like, oh, we're going to wait, or actually, no, we're all right. We'll just use this one or that one. But, yeah.
I'll make this final point, because Reece mentioned something, is that what they don't realize is the gap is closing. Because you make a good point in terms of all these other teams able to spend now. So if you think you can get away with kind of doing the bare minimum, like I said, Nottingham Forest, like I said, there could be a blip. Are there in the top 4? They were second. There's literally between second and third. Brighton were there for a short period. Aston Villa got top 4 last season. Newcastle got top 4 2 seasons ago. So the gap is closing, where these clubs now are able to spend money, are able to offer high wages to players. You can't put your laurels and think because we're Liverpool FC. You can do that maybe in Germany. You can do that in Spain, because you're not having everything. In England, absolutely not. These teams are finding ways to generate money and are spending that in the club. And you can find yourself, as United are finding, where because now the gap is closed so much, you can't even slip from being a top 4 to maybe 5th or 6th. You can slip from being a top 4 to finishing 10th, then slip again from 10th to being in 14th, because the gap closed. So unfortunately, as clubs, you have to operate as big clubs and maintain the advantage of having better quality players, spending a bit more, and also offering your players the wages that they deserve just to keep some of these smaller teams from creeping up on you.
No, it's true, man. It's true. Shout out Kojo, free midfield. So he's put FSG have shafted the fans. Klopp worked well almost in spite of them. Crazy to say, considering the success they've had. They can't push to secure the contracts of these three. Yeah, I have to agree there. I think that, to me, that, like you've both said, it's like a black mark against FSG in terms of contract negotiations, allowing it to happen. Very quickly on Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Basil, come to you first quickly. Are they going to sign? Do you reckon they'll sign those deals?
I personally think if anyone's going to sign, maybe Virgil van Dijk. I personally think Salah's probably is going to be gone. Personally, I think Salah and Trent are the two that are going to be gone. I think FSG work hard to make sure they secure at least one, because I think it'd be unthinkable to let all three go. But I think Van Dijk is probably the one where they might keep him. I can see Salah going at the end in the summer personally.
To Saudi?
It wouldn't surprise me if he go, because at the same time he just achieved everything he needs to achieve. Same as Trent, he's won everything he needs to win in England. So why not go for that one big paycheck? And even cultural wise, it would be easy for him to adapt.
100%.
Religious wise, and how the country would be easy. And like I said, he'll be very appreciated because I think Ben will become the face of the sport in Saudi.
Yeah, 100%.
Generated outside from the wages they were offering. So it generally wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Saudi come the end of the season.
I agree. What do you think, Reese?
I think Virgil and Salah are signed, but I just think it's going to be dragged out until the end of the season. I want Trent to stay, but I can't see it. Like I said,
He's gone, man. He's gone. I told you, man.
Hala
Madrid.
If he does it, I'll be back on there. Like I said, I'll be hollering at you lot directly. How devastated you'll be. But how did this not manage to keep them?
No, man. Listen, doesn't concern me. My club is in blue.
I will be contacting you in the league.
Listen, I'll be here, man. I'll be fact, no, I won't be here. I'll be on a sunny beach somewhere because I told you I'm not going to be here.
I'll find out your look.
Yeah.
Like Liam Neeson.
very, very quickly before we wrap up. So obviously Chelsea, as I said at the start, 1 point out of 9 over the Christmas period, dropping points left, right, centre. Basil, I'll come to you first. What's happened to Chelsea in terms of the drop off, which was going to be inevitable at some point, I think, this season, based on what we've all said before about the goalkeeper, defensive mistakes at the back. But you would look at some of those fixtures. I mean, looking at Fulham, Everton being the two key ones, but just a mad drop off from Chelsea.
I think it's a manager, and I think it's all the manager for a few reasons. Going back to what Reece said earlier, for me, it's the manner as to which he ruled Chelsea out. There's a way, like if you're, and I'd said, circumstance dictates kind of expectations kind of change. Chelsea were there. Now, no one was saying that you have to say we're in the title race, but you could just play the humility card. But he didn't. He played for, we're not there. We don't have the quality as Arsenal. We don't have the quality as Liverpool, which for me isn't great for a Chelsea manager because Chelsea have a history of winning things. When you put yourself in a position where, we can compete, not realistically, we knew they weren't going to compete, but you just played a humility card. As even Arne Slot, you look at Arne Slot, what he's doing is he's not ruling Liverpool. He knows he's in a good position. But what he's doing is he's playing the humility card in the media. We just need to work hard, be humble, see how things go. For me, that's how Maresca should have played it, because if there's a slip-off, there's a slip-off. We understand that. Then the second reason why I say that is because, yes, defensively, your goalkeeper let you down. But when I look at it, you don't actually have... Yes, your defenders are not to the quality that is required yet to kind of compete. But they're not that bad, because when you look at it, Malo Gusto is not a bad right back. Cucurella is having a good season. Colwell, like I said, is a decent prospect.
That's where it stops, by the way. But go on.
Now, I'm not saying that they're the highest quality of defenders, but when you look at how they defend and some of the chances they concede, I look at it and say that's a managerial. That's an issue with the manager, because they're not that bad of a player, but you should look that bad defensively. I've seen lesser managers work with lesser defenses and make them look better. So for me, I look at it and say, well, he needs to do better in terms of your organization and how you defend. And I don't think he's doing enough from a defensive perspective. I think from what I see, is when the performance in the pitch is very attacking. very how do we control, how do we attack. But he needs to do more from a defensive perspective because your defenders aren't that bad. They're not what you need to really compete.
Would you have
Not,
Zazie at Arsenal?
no, I wouldn't.
Or would you have Badia Shula at Arsenal?
No.
I rest my case.
I would have the likes of Colwell, Fofana, and Tosin as backups to the likes of Gabriel and Saliba. And I would be confident to say if those guys need, let's say, injured for 3 games, I'll be confident that those guys can do a shift.
Not Zazie.
Not exactly, but the likes of Tosin, the likes of Colwell, and the likes of
Fofana.
Those are the only 3 where I'm like, they can play as cover. They're good enough to at least.
But we're playing them as, remember, we're playing them as not cover. They're our main strikers, our main defenders. So when strikers are coming up against them, they're like deer in headlights. They don't look organised at all at the back. And I'd agree with you if they were our backup defenders, but they're not.
Yeah, I agree. They're backup defenders, but I think they're not that. I think because when I watch them, and look, the chance you can see, the log is very tactical. And I sit there and I look at it, it's tactical, organizational, and it doesn't seem for me that the manager's doing enough to work with them. Because what I'm saying is, it looks week in, week out. I'm seeing the same mistakes. I'm seeing the same opportunities you're kind of giving away. And if it's continuous, and I say, well, that's a managerial issue where he needs to work hard on the training ground to cut out some of those mistakes, or even just not allow teams to create the chances that they do create. Yes, you do have Badia and Diassi and Badia Shelu, who are just horrible defenders, point blank, but you have enough to do better in some of the games where you've slipped up personally.
I'll let Reese come in before I give my... Nah, listen, I agree with you to an extent, but I think we're never going to win anything with those as our main defender. Even Levi Colwell, I like him, but he's very... Not saying he's inexperienced because he's been at loan, he's been at Brighton, he's come back, he's looking the more solid at the centre backs that we've got. But I think he's very young, so he's going to be prone to mistakes. And I think I said not on here, but maybe on another podcast, that if you had like Thiago Silva next to him for 1 season, or you brought Thiago Silva in as a coach now, or you brought John Terry in as a coach now and made them, because it's definitely a coaching issue. It's a defensive issue from a coaching perspective, why we're leaking goals. You know, the goalkeeper's not as confident because he's not really got the trust in his defenders to defend well. So until we resolve that, we're going to get hammered by like Ipswich 2-0, or we're going to let a goal, let a 1-0 lead slip away against Fulham like we did the other day. So those things are just, it's too many issues. And that's why I agree when Maresca's kept being asked, are we in a title race? I'm glad he just said we're taking it 1 game at a time, because if we'd said that we were, it would have looked crazy. Now he would have looked like the most craziest manager at Chelsea that we've ever had. So I'm glad. But Reese, tell me what you think. What do you think? What's gone wrong? How did Chelsea get out from this now? This little rut, bad form.
Reese has got a smile on his face. He's ready.
Of course he has. Of course he has. Come on, I know. That's why I went to you first, Basil.
I still think Chelsea will get top 4. I understand where you're coming from, Theo, where you're saying he's trying to take pressure off the players, but at the same time, winning breeds confidence. A confident manager as well, installing that into the players. Yeah, say if he did say that, we're challenging for the league, and then you went and go and lost. But at the same time, you're Chelsea. At least he's showing that he really believes it. Do I think you're at that stage yet? No, but it's similar to what I said with Liverpool. No one was expecting us to, and Slot's kind of taking it 1 game at a time. But a lot of the time, he kind of reiterates when, say, certain results, or say we lost a result or things like that. It's Liverpool. This is what you're supposed to be doing, and it's similar at Chelsea. Obviously, the manager's not as experienced, but if you look at Chelsea's history, they're used to winning. Obviously, the last couple of years, not so much. But if you look at,
I'm glad you said that. There's a bit I was just about to come back on. That's like, we haven't been in a title race for years, whereas Liverpool have. So
if you looked at it over since the 2000s, you lot have won. You've probably been the most successful team out of all.
But when was our last title race then? Like, when was the last time we were in the title race and we looked like we were going to win the league? That was years ago.
But what I'm saying is, you don't forget. You don't. So
it's a whole new squad. Remember, it's not the same squad that won it then. The last time you won the league, you retained a couple of the players that won it last time. none of these players have got the experience of being in that title race, I think is what I'm trying to say. So it's not like they've been in this race before, they've got a bit of experience, they know how to see it over the line. They're all young, inexperienced in terms of, that's why I was glad we're in a Conference League.
Unless they won the league, they didn't have no experience of winning the league. When Blackburn won the league, they didn't have no experience of winning it. I don't think so. That plays a part.
Times it,
That's the case. It's about believing in your squad and things like that.
I'm glad he downplayed it anyway. I'm glad, because we're not in a title race. I've been saying that for time.
Well, I hope you hold on to that, because say if you keep dropping more and more down the table, I want to see if you're still happy with him saying that.
I told you, man, the objective's top four, and that's it. That's all I want this season. I don't want
to try and get a trophy. Come on.
Nah, not this season.
You're not even going to try and win the whatever European thing that you're in.
You want to talk down to people, Reese, because you're at the top now, right? Yeah. All right. We'll see.
But you got to remember, the last thing I'll say with him is he said the players are tired, which is what I've noticed. Is when Chelsea are playing one game a week, they're great. When they start playing 2 games a week, it's like,
so I'll take it, man. I'll take all.
You know what you have to do, but it's weird though, because you got one of the biggest squads. I'm not saying you got the best squad, but you've got.
Have we though? Have we though? Have you done the numbers on that?
Is that centre back and goal? You've got 2 or 3 11s there easily.
Okay. Same numbers though. Same registered numbers as any team though. Yeah.
What's that? Numbers for
in terms of our registration for the league and for like other competitions, it's the same number that every.
That's a ridiculous comment for you.
But am I right? Am I right with it though? Can we register any more than Arsenal or Liverpool?
No comment.
All right then. Yeah, you know, look at Kojo in the comments. Look,
man.
See, don't let Theo get away with it. I'm not getting away with anything. I'm just proving the points that we can't register.
You got to leave them to be the.
What is it? 23? Is it a 23-man squad that you can register for the league? Silence. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Appreciate everyone that's been involved in the chat. Kojo, I see you right there. It's been a good start to the year 2025. Let's hope this continues. Reese, thank you very much. Basil, as always, as well. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like the video, share the video, all of that stuff. We'll be back soon.